All right, next, best in VR storytelling advertising experience. There's actually two winners. The first is Lexus Elevate, Team 1 Lexus, Unit 9, and Plan 8. Can you roll the clip, please? That's a great clip, too, because it really gives you a sense of what's possible. Yeah. Anybody? More people.
Oh.
More people drinking booze.
Nice. Jealous.
Hi, I'm John. How's it going?
Hi. You haven't met?
Congratulations. So I come from the world of the last 7 or 8 years of 3D films, and we're talking about 3D in a broadcasting sense. When we thought that market was going to take off, all the advertisers were very excited about it because studies were done where when they showed a 3D advertising trailer in front of a film, there was something like a 64% greater retention rate of that product. So I'm just curious from all of you, how do you see VR? I mean, with VR, it must be off the charts. I haven't seen any data yet, but whatever anecdotes you can share with us, and how do you see it changing the connection between consumer and brands in virtual reality?
So I can give you two anecdotes real quick. So our first VR project
Probably move the mic up.
for Lexus was about a year and a half ago. We did a virtual reality driving simulator with full motion and all that good stuff. Nobody threw up, so that was a huge plus for us. On top of that, it accounted for about over half of the total PR impressions for that particular vehicle's year-long campaign, just from that one execution. So that right there more than paid for what we did. Secondly, for the cycling bit that you just saw there, not only could you get that on cardboard and all that stuff, but it went to the U.S. Pro Cycling Challenge in Colorado this summer, and that's where people really got to experience it on the Gear VR and just kind of be there with the cyclists and all that great environment. But we had a guy come into the area who used to be a cyclist, was a veteran, and became paralyzed through combat. And he came in there and he did the experience and was pretty much just in tears. I mean, we talked about Empathy Machine and all that because that was the closest that he had been to being back on the bike since that happened. And I mean, we all talk about how powerful this thing is. I mean, when we got that story back, it was just like, we're marketers, we do advertising, we're not curing cancer and stuff like that. So, I mean, same old thing, right? But when you hear things like that, it's incredible. And I mean, I think that speaks well for the future of what everybody here is doing, no matter how they're doing it.
Totally, and weirdly, that was Avatar, right? That was the emotional hook of Avatar.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Crazy.
So in the ad space, when VR is really mature, right, how do you see ads actually coming into experiences that people do on a day-to-day basis as far as interstitials versus longer form kind of campaigns? Do you guys kind of have any prescience to the evolution of what that'll be in kind of the medium in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see everything that you can possibly imagine from, there's going to be crappy pop-up banners, in your VR worlds. There's going to be product placement. There's going to be, standalone stuff like we've done here, shorter form, longer form than that. So I think you're going to see the gamut. I mean, what are you going to see? Mike Rosicki's the creative technologist and pretty much chief storyteller on this, and he's much deeper into the technology as well. So what are you seeing?
I sincerely hope that we don't resort to the equivalent of banner ads. Though I'm just like, yeah, except this time it's actually in your face and you can't look around it. That would be terrible. You look to all sides. You can't look away. We have you. Going back to that sort of like the story that he was talking about with the vet, which definitely touched all of us at the office. The hope would be that you have this empathy machine, you have the ability to really put people in an experience and have them feel something, have them feel like taken away, have them feel awe or inspired or the center of attention or the prettiest person in the room or terrified. You have this opportunity to even do like 15 or 30 seconds worth of storytelling. Instead of showing somebody a story that they could participate in, which is kind of what pre-roll is now to a certain extent, you could give somebody a 15 or 30 second experience where they are the star of that. And that to me is a much more powerful, much more compelling experience until, brain chips come in and we can just flood your brain with dopamine and whatnot and skip it entirely.
We're super excited for brain chips.
Super.
We are.
Who isn't?
Okay, last one.
So we had a creative director who got nauseous looking at a still image in VR for more after 2 seconds. So nausea is a thing, and it affects people in different levels. This is a pretty aggressive piece of content in terms of you're in constant motion, and it's a bike rider, so it's not a stabilized head. Can you talk about sort of, did you have to do any testing? Did you just kind of say let's go for it? People are going to get sick, or where was your sort of your process of determining how aggressive you could be, and what were the decision making process for that?
Kristen, do you want to talk about some of the puke testing that Unit 9 did for us over in the UK when they were putting this together at the beginning?
Tiffany and I can talk to that together. We did a ton of testing. I mean, the stabilization is tricky because it's so subjective. Different people get triggered by different things. So we did a lot of testing. We had initially planned to stabilize on the shoot. We ended up stabilizing a lot in post, and it was a lot of manual trial and error. Yeah. And I think as we're learning more and more about this technology, there's a lot of, as with any other new technology, there's a lot of experimentation, and some of it's really hard. And that was the case with this project. It was a lot of just trying things and going back and forth and seeing what worked and what didn't, and frame by frame, stabilizing things. So
yeah, there were certain shots that were trickier than others for sure, but we just tested it with a multitude of people to see what their reactions were, and then sort of went from there.
We would literally go through the office,
the entire intern.
We would literally go through we'd take the gear. Mike would take the gear and give them a speech and put it on their head and be like, go, and what made you nervous, what points made you feel sick.
All so quantitative.
It was very scrappy the way we did a lot of this.
Yeah.
The interns loved it, though, by the way. No interns were harmed during this process.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Here's your very favorite Hollywood Blues Prize.